The RV Show USA.
You know, every couple of months, we get an email or a social media post from somebody wanting us to talk about RV insurance and what's covered and what's not and all that kind of stuff. And I have reached out to many insurance agents, invited them to be on the show, but it's kind of like they're reluctant to answer questions or I don't know what it is, but they do not want to jump on the show with me. But anyway, recently we received a call from a listener who has an insurance story, and I thought it might be really good to hear. So let's bring up Tony from over in East Texas. Hey, Tony, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Alan. Good to see you.
Well, likewise. So before we get into insurance and your story, tell us a little bit about you in terms of RVing, how long you've been RVing, full-time, part-time. Kind of give me the 30-second elevator pitch.
We're full-timers. My wife and I, we're both retired. Started about 6 years ago. We started with a travel trailer, went to a motorhome. That's the one that we'll be talking about. We're currently in another motorhome, thanks to our insurance company.
And so, how just real quickly, how does full-timing compare with what you thought it was going to be like, Tony?
Oh, we love it. We love it. We wouldn't have it any other way. We just came, as a matter of fact, we just came back, and we live in Texas, but we came back from Mission, Texas, where we go down for the winter. We go to one of the 55-plus camps down there, and love it absolutely. It's just unbelievable.
It's a lot of fun. All right, so you guys had an insurance claim. What's the story on that?
Well, briefly, it's we had a motor coach or a motorhome.
What's that?
It had 4 slides. We were up in the Midwest, up in South Dakota. Went to Mount Rushmore. After staying there for a little while, we decided it's time to go home. We went to a small campground that was just on the north side of the border of South Dakota, and we encountered a torrential rain storm. A lot of thunder, a lot of rain. At one point, the rain was coming in sideways, literally sideways, vertical. And we didn't think anything of it, and we continued our travels the next day, and we were in Nebraska. And again, we stopped at a little campground, pulled in. The same storm apparently was following us, although we didn't encounter any rain until we got to this campground. And that night, about 11 o'clock, here comes that storm again, torrential downpours, and the rain was coming in sideways. Again, really didn't think anything about it, went home. About 2 or 3 months later, we started smelling a kind of a funny odor and every time we went into the bedroom, and could not pinpoint what it was. We didn't really know what it was. This being an older RV, it was a used RV, we couldn't pinpoint what that problem was. And one afternoon, I happened to be on the wardrobe side of the slide, and there's carpeting that was down there, and papered walls, of course. And I reached in for something, and the carpet was just sopping wet. And I couldn't believe where it was, because we weren't having any kind of rainstorms or any kind of thunderclouds or anything like that coming through, but yet our carpeting was wet.
So you traced that back to the horizontal rain that was hitting you sideways up on your trip up north.
We didn't think about that. We didn't even, that wasn't in our mind. And I just pulled the carpet back, and some of the paper had worked its way loose from the walls, and there's black mold. I mean, it was just incredible. Well, the first thing you do is you call your insurance company, and that's what we did. And we were immediately told, well, you're not insured if it's just a rainstorm. So I started doing some investigation. I got some weather reports and telling us what kind of weather we were in. Fortunately, we had gas receipts to prove that we were there, and I'll get to the receipts in just a minute. The insurance company looked at it and said, well, we need to think about it if it's that kind of a rainstorm. A few months later, we got back to us and said, yeah, they probably would cover it, because we had a certain policy that my wife was smart enough to put together. We had an auto RV insurance policy with an endorsement for homeowners, and the endorsement had the catastrophic. There you go, catastrophic. I'm a good speller with a lousy pronunciation. Anyway, we had that endorsement on there. And the insurance guy came out, took a lot of pictures, and said that, yeah, probably we might be covering it. But we need to know how much the coach is worth and what you've done. So, again, the receipts. My wife, if I bought a nut and a bolt to put a license plate on this RV, she kept a receipt for it. She documented virtually everything and anything that we ever did. She still does it to this day. And this was all laid out to the insurance company. They couldn't believe what they were looking at. And so consequently, because of that, they covered the coach totally. They actually gave us more than what we had in it because of the improvements that we had done. They covered all of our improvements. They covered any damage that was done to the coach.
Now, Tony, was this black mold? Was it black mold that was in there, or just? Yeah, it was.
It was black mold.
I thought black mold was excluded from insurance policies.
Well, I can tell you right now, we got covered because of this catastrophic problem that we had.
Well, and it sounds like, it also sounds like because your wife was smart enough to buy the right thing up front, and she had all the documentation of every dime you ever spent on this thing.
Absolutely. She is meticulous when it comes to that paperwork, and she is to this day. And I can tell you, she's a cancer sufferer as we speak, but she's still, even in her stage 4 cancer, keeps track of everything we do with these coaches that we've owned. But because of that, the insurance company came back. It took a little while. About 6 months later, they said to take the RV into a dealer here in town, which we did, and they came back and said, well, we're not going to repair it. We're going to total it. They gave us the exact cost of what we had paid for the coach, plus all of the improvements that we had done to it. It was an amazing. We ended up with about, I think it was a couple of $1,000s more than what we actually had.
I love hearing positive, good stories. What's the takeaway? What's the advice you can give to our listeners, Tony? What do they need to do about insurance on their? Do they wait until they have a claim like you did, or what do they do?
Well, the first thing is get with your insurance company. That's what my wife did, and said exactly what are you going to be covering. And she told the insurance company, well, I want this, this, and this. Can you provide that? And we went to several insurance companies, and they said no. We finally found one that said, yes, we can do it for you, and that's what we did. Then the next thing to do is make sure you document every single thing that you do in that you buy. Photograph the interior, make sure you got a copy of everything that you have and photographs of everything that you have. It might seem like a chore, but believe me, when you get into a situation like we were in, we were so happy at the end, and we couldn't believe it. We thought we were going to be $30,000 in the hole.
You took pictures before, way before you ever had any water damage, and then before and after photos to show the damage. Yes.
Right. We took photos of everything that we owned inside the coach, and to show that we had these items. And then if we bought anything that was related to the coach, not for personal use, so like a frying pan or something like that. But we put hydraulic lines in the coach that we had. We put a new toilet in, for instance. We put a gem start. All of these things were documented. In fact, your gem start was done by a buddy of mine and a buddy of yours, old Billy Thibodeau.
He's awesome.
With that gentleman.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine, and he's the only one that touches these coaches.
Billy's a good man. Listen, Tony, we got to wrap it up. It sounds like y'all were really prepared. Congratulations. I love hearing these good stories from our listeners. Yeah,
make sure you document every single thing that you do. Everything.
All right. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening to the show. We appreciate it.
Oh, I love the show. I wouldn't miss it for a world.
All right. We'll talk again, Tony. Thank you for being on with us. All right, folks, I think that the real takeaway on this is pull out your insurance policy, pull it out, read the declaration page, know what is covered and what isn't. Check your homeowner's policy as well. If you don't understand something, ask your agent. It's a whole lot better to ask before you have a claim than after you find out you are up a creek.
Hi, this is Goose from the RV Show USA, and these are today's winners to ensure you get your $50 gift card. Make sure you send an email to info@thervshowusa.com. And if you would like to enter to win a $50 gift card of your very own, head over to the RVshowUSA.com and sign up for our email list. And if you like this video and would like to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's right over there. And turn on the notifications so you will be notified whenever a new video comes out for the RV Show USA. And as always, thank you for watching.